Bear with me for one sec, guys. I'm going to call the National Security Hotline of Australia from my second phone. Just bear with me for one sec. Okay, so I'm going to call the National Security Hotline and report this shit. Straight out, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this treason. I'm fucking done with this treason. Let's see what they say. Let's see what they say. I need my other hand free for this. Let me shut this. Let me try block out as much noise as possible. I'm done. I'm done. After what I've witnessed today, I'm done. Let's wait for this to connect and I'm calling. Let's make sure my Bluetooth is connected. Okay, here we go. Calling the National Security Hotline to report what the fuck is happening to this country. Because I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm absolutely done.
Welcome to the National Security Hotline. If you need urgent help from emergency services, please hang up and call 000. If your call relates to a visa issue, police check, scam, or general crime, please press 1. If your call relates to national security concerns, including possible signs of terrorism or foreign interference, please stay on the line to speak to an NSH operator.
Foreign interference. Cool. Foreign interference.
Please stay on the line while your call is transferred to the operator. National Security Hotline.
G'day, you're speaking to Matthew. How are you today?
Hi, good, thank you.
Great to hear. Who am I speaking with, please?
Emma?
Emma, how's your day been?
Yeah, fine.
Great to hear. Emma, I'd like to report some foreign interference happening in Australian skies. I've been witnessing aircraft dispersing dark substances out of their tail, and now there is a profound smell of burning rubber above Movie World. It looks like there is an actual fire. We've got all weird different colour, I'm not going to call them clouds, I'm going to call them aerosols, chemicals, I don't know what they are, but this has been released from aircraft behind Movie World, and it also looks like there is stuff rising from the earth out west, out Canungra way, and it smells distinctively of burnt rubber. And I've actually seen with my own two eyes aerosols / chemicals coming out of the back of an aircraft. And this has been documented pretty much all afternoon today from Murwillumbah, Northern Rivers, Gold Coast, Brisbane, by many, many people.
Okay. So you're up in just out of Brisbane, did you say? Just near Movie World?
I'm actually on the Gold Coast. I'm currently in the Movie World car park, and I've just been documenting this for like the last hour. And yeah, I've just seen craft dispersing aerosols, and now we've just got weird stuff in the sky that this does not look natural at all.
Okay. And the aircraft, probably hard to see, but do they just look like standard airplanes?
They look like military planes. They look like military planes, and they don't appear on flight radar. I've actually recorded so much footage of this. There's many of us who know what's going on. There's weather manipulation, weather modification programs taking place within this country. These are craft that do not appear on flight track radar, yet I've documented aircraft flying next to commercial aircraft, and the ones that don't appear on flight radar, they're the ones that leave these aerosols / chemicals in our sky, and yet your normal commercial airliners don't. And I've got documented footage of this. One of the Australian senators, Senator Malcolm Roberts, has actually put it on his website for people to send him documented evidence of these aircraft dispersing aerosols. It's actual weather, it's weather modification, it's weather manipulation.
Okay. So just a few more questions about what you're seeing come out of the aircraft. So is it like a dark sort of like smoke, like, or looks to be like smoke?
I can tell you exactly what I've seen. I've seen dark trails, literal dark black trails coming out of the back of a craft. I actually documented one of these things about 2 weeks ago. I wasn't quick enough to grab footage of the plane dispersing the aerosol, but you certainly see the aftermath of this black chemical trail in the sky. I've also documented white trails being left after an aircraft has flown over us, and it's not condensation, because condensation typically dissipates between 1 minute to 2. On a high humidity day, condensation can linger for 10 to 15 minutes, but this actually lingers for hours and hours and hours, and then it actually blocks out the path of the sun.
Okay. I'm just taking down some notes.
Thank you.
And so you've been saying this has been happening all day?
Yeah, it's been happening all day. It's actually been happening all weekend. It's been happening for a considerably longer time than that, but let's just worry about the weekend for now, unfortunately. Heavy spraying, like, and I'm not just the only one who's noticed this.
Yeah, is it just one aircraft or is it multiple?
Oh, multiple aircraft. Multiple.
Okay.
Multiple. And yeah, not a single one of them appear on flight radar.
Okay. Let me just... Okay. Okay. So I'll just quickly go back over. So you've been observing aircraft expelling sort of dark, like fumes, chemicals, sort of like smoke-appearing substances, and it's giving off the smell of like burning rubber. You say?
There's burnt rubber. It smells of burnt rubber. Smells of sulfur. It smells very chemical. It smells very chemical.
Okay.
And it's happening all over. It's happening all over residential areas too. I've got friends up in Redland Bay who have documented this, but I'm seeing footage today coming out of Nimbin, Murwillumbah, the Tweed, so Tweed Heads, and then all the way from, I don't know how familiar you are with Queensland, but all the way from Tweed Heads up to Brisbane, up to the Sunshine Coast.
Okay. Tweed Heads to Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast. Okay. And so you've been observing, you rang today, have you noticed the activity has picked up today, or has it been pretty consistent over the weekend? Oh,
it's been extremely consistent over the weekend. Lismore, Bangalore, Ballina, Lennox Heads, Logan, we've just been absolutely bombarded. I mean, I can tell you what this is, because I know what this is, as do many other people, including the man who ran for Prime Minister of this country, Craig Kelly, because he acknowledged to me what's taking place in this country. But the Australian people are being left unknowing to what's happening. It's an actual form of weather modification. There's patents for this. There's actual patents for weather modification devices. If you're happy to jump onto Google right now, I can actually give you a number that you can type into Google, and before your very eyes, you will read artificial mist, artificial fog, rain-making devices. And this is Australia. There's patents for this. It's patented, like artificial fog, artificial mist. Why do we need artificial fog and artificial mist if weather modification is just a quote-unquote conspiracy theory? Why is it written into Australian legislation? Why do we have patented devices? And again, the Australian public are being left unknowing. I'm happy to give you the patent for the artificial fog and artificial mist. The patent for that is US 133 834
834
3A.
3A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, pardon me.
Yeah, that's just one of them. That's all right, you're fine. There's plenty of other patents in regards to weather manipulation, weather modification devices. And it's not just cloud seeding making it rain, it's actual sun dimming technology. The genius, I'll call him what he is, the genius, and I'm obviously being sarcastic, the genius Bill Gates has openly spoken about sun dimming technology. John Brennan, the former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, in 2016, when he was still the director of the CIA, before the Council on Foreign Relations, gave a talk where he spoke about solar geoengineering, that's what this is called, where he spoke about solar geoengineering being his favorite form of weather modification, with it being a $10 billion annual project. And they even talk about the sky not really being blue anymore because you'll be spraying aerosols in the sky. Well, we can see that the sky is not blue anymore, and this is being done by a foreign entity, a foreign body. The Australian public are not being made aware of this. I'll go a little bit further. Weather modification is a global experiment, and according to the Nuremberg Code, which was instilled after Nazi Germany after the Holocaust, the Nuremberg Code specifically states you cannot conduct an experiment upon an unknowing populace. That's a direct violation of the Nuremberg Code. And this is taking place in Australia. I'll let you know a little bit more. I'm a public speaker. I'm an interviewer. I'm an independent journalist. I've spoken publicly alongside politicians who refuse to acknowledge weather modification. Yet, Craig Kelly, the man who ran for Prime Minister of this country, I asked him directly, is he familiar with weather modification taking place in Queensland? And he said yes. I said, great, cloud seeding making it rain and or blocking out the sun like Bill Gates has proposed, and he said both. I'm like, all right, Craig, what do we have to do about it as Australians? He looked me in the eye and said, oh, you just have to raise awareness. The man that ran for Prime Minister of this country telling a citizen of this country, it's up to you. And residential areas are being sprayed. Residential areas are being sprayed, and the population are being made unaware of this. What do we need to do to take this further? Because I think you can tell that I'm not crazy. I'm not a typical quote unquote what the media like to call us in the government tinfoil conspiracy theorists. No, this is really taking place. I've actually been documenting this for the last 3 years, and now I'm at my absolute wit's end because I'm tired of seeing aircraft after aircraft dispersing aerosol above my home. All these black soot that we're finding on our homes, on our vehicles, it's not dirt rain. So what can be done about this, please?
Okay. Just checking in first. Have you experienced any negative, like medical side, like health side?
Absolutely. I'll tell you. Dr. David Nixon, an Australian GP who was deregistered after talking about the adverse reactions of the COVID-19 inoculation, he takes live blood work, and he found graphene oxide in my blood. And he's
in your blood?
In my blood. Yep, in my blood. I've had my live blood work taken. I have not had any vaccinations. And his exact words to me were I'm discovering graphene in the blood of many people who have not had the inoculation. This is a GP who has been deregistered, found graphene oxide in my blood. And I'll go further. Head pressure, nausea, gastrointestinal pain. And this is all directly after a spray. And I'm not the only one. There are many people within the community who are experiencing these ill effects of weather modification.
Okay. So I'm sorry to hear about that. Ill effects.
Thank you.
Now, have you happened to have spoken to the Civil Aviation Authority, Safety Authority?
Yeah, they basically are silent on this issue. They're silent on this issue.
Right, okay. But you've reported it or spoken to them about it?
Yep, and I've also spoken to pilots at airports, and some actually have the courage to say that they noticed a lot of unusual activity at non-commercial height, like 60,000 feet, So it's well known that this really is taking place. Pilots are speaking out about what they're seeing above flight altitude, so 60,000 feet. I myself, last time I flew to Victoria, I could see that with my own two eyes. I was at 35 cruise altitude, and I could see up above, 65,000 feet. I could see all the layering that's been, and the trails. So commercial airliners don't fly that high.
Okay, perfect. It's just, I just asked just because they tend to be the main authority on the matter of, aviation and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've put already put a report in with them, that's okay. So Matthew, would it be okay if I just grabbed a couple more of your details? Just, it's just for the purpose in case anyone wanted to reach out, further information, anything like that.
Yeah, but I need to ask you though, is this going to be taken seriously? Because there's a lot of people who have actually reported this and they're told that they're going to hear back and nothing is ever done for it because somehow the military is above everyone in this country now, including government.
Well, I can explain to you what our process is.
Thank you.
The National Security Hotline, we are just a reporting agency. So all we do is take information from, our public-facing hotline, people like you, and we write up reports on what you have, like the information you have to report, and then our reports go through to our stakeholders, which include, the AFP authorities and intelligence services.
Does that includes the aviation industry?
Yes, so
Okay.
they have access to our reports.
Can I just cut you off for 1 second? And please don't think I'm being rude, or please don't think I'm being a smart ass, but I'm just going to be straight out with you. Asking the aviation industry to acknowledge this is taking place, it's like asking a rattlesnake, are you going to bite me if I step on you? And that's just me being real with you. That's just me being real with you. This is not publicly disclosed because the public will lose their collective. If the public knew that the military, the Australian military-industrial complex, in conjunction with the American military-industrial complex, if the Australian public knew that they were modifying our weather by spraying aerosols in our sky, there'd be a revolution, there'd be a revolt. It's not spoken about for a reason. And they come up with all these terms like La Nina and El Nino.
Okay. Well, it's sort of a tough situation then because, that's sort of the people that have access to our reports. I can still absolutely write up the report for you. It will get sent through, intelligence agencies and the police will have access to it. But the National Security Hotline itself does not investigate or action any tasks. So once I write up the report and send it through, that's sort of where our involvement with it ends. Otherwise, you can go directly to authorities if you feel that would be like a better use of time.
Well,
but yeah,
I've actually been to quite a few police stations, and I was actually granted an interview room at one point, and I pulled my phone out and I showed the senior sergeant footage that I have captured myself, including these artificial clouds, because there is actual cloud making devices. There's actual cloud making devices, and it was actually on an American mainstream news channel that Australia is releasing artificial clouds above the ocean to cool down the ocean. So this is war crimes. This is actual war crimes taking place because the Australian public are not being made aware of this. But anyway, I digress. I went into a police station, was granted an interview room, sat down with the senior sergeant, showed him my footage. He had no idea. We've got a thing called the 1967 Australian Rainmaking Act and the 2008 Queensland Cloud Setting Project, which you can actually find on Google, and it links you directly to the Australian government website. He wasn't even aware that we had these rainmaking acts in place. He pulled it up. I showed him the Rainmaking Act. That goes .gov.au, the legitimate Australian government website. Then followed by my footage and his exact words. When I said, mate, be honest with me, do they look like real clouds to you? His exact words, I'm not going to dick you around, mate. Those aren't real clouds. Thank you for making me aware to this. I'm like, thank you for being honest. I'm like, I've never had a cop actually acknowledge that, that what you see is this. So he was the first cop who's actually acknowledged that this is taking place. But again, sadly, he followed through with, this is above my pay grade. And he didn't say it in a smart-ass way. It's just like, WTF do I do? Like, I've got no idea what to do. It's above my pay grade because it's the military. And somehow these people are untouchable. And my tax dollars pays their wage. Your tax dollars pay their wage. Our tax dollars are paying for them to spray aerosols in our sky.
Right. Okay. Would you feel better if perhaps you were able to voice your concerns and your report of information to the Department of Defence directly, or are you happy for me just to take the report and send it through?
I want to go as high as I can possibly go. I hate using the word civilian and citizen because that's a word the government use for us. But as a citizen of this country, as a first generation Australian, indigenous to this land, I would love to take this as far as I can possibly take this, because this has been going on now for many, many years. And I've been documenting it myself for over 3 years now, and I'm just at my wits' ends. Like, I know this is really taking place, and I'm tired of being gaslit by these politicians.
Okay.
How would I go? How would I go about taking this as far as I could possibly go?
Well, I unfortunately am not at liberty to give out, direct internal contacts or anything like that. But I can direct you towards the Defence's public-facing switchboard number, if you would like that.
Thank you. I will grab their number.
No worries.
And I'll also get you, and I'll also ask for you to put through a report as well. That way we'll cover as many avenues as we can. Because I just want resolution. I just want these aerosols to be stopped spraying in our sky. I want normal weather to return, not manufactured weather. I never voted for this. You didn't vote for this. Yet somehow the Australian government spent millions of dollars in that nonsensical yes/no referendum, which we always knew was going to be a no anyway. But yeah, somehow they want to wipe their hands clean of the aerosols being sprayed in our sky.
Okay. All right, so I've got the number here for you. Did you have something to take it down with?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so it is 1300 333 362.
362. And what's their official title, please?
So that will be the Defence National Switchboard.
So the Defence National Switchboard. Okay. Now, what other department can I contact? I've spoken to the police. My next shot with the police is the Federal Police. What other departments can I contact to try get some sort of answers as to why these aerosols are being sprayed above residential areas?
I would recommend. Now, I know you already said you've already contacted the Civil Aviation Safety Authority. They would have been my first point of contact as well. So you've done the correct thing in contacting them. AFP, and probably if you're saying they appear to be defence aircraft, then defence.
They're not going to give any answers because they're the ones doing this. What I really want to know is who's giving them their orders. Who's giving the military the orders to disperse chemicals over residential areas in Australia?
Have you also contacted your local MP?
I'm not laughing at you, but that's a joke. Senator Malcolm Roberts. Okay. As I said, I'm an independent journalist. I live stream this guy's events. The last event I live streamed of his was live streamed to over 5,000 people, and he spoke about climate change. His exact words, it's bullshit. Yet he had an entire room of people give me a standing ovation pretty much when I got up and spoke about weather modification. I asked them, are they familiar with weather modification? Every single hand in that room went up. And this guy just gaslights us and gaslights us and gaslights us and gaslights us. He's got it on his website to send him evidence. He's been sent so much evidence, I reckon this guy could have 50 years of viewing pleasure of just aircraft dispersing aerosols. So yeah,
Okay,
politicians, they're not there for you. They're not there for me. They don't take us seriously, and that's just me being real with you.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay then. It's just they generally tend to be a point of call for the local area if you have concerns. If you also have concerns, as you said, this sort of flying over residential areas, but also, I know at least out in the Gold Coast where the parks are, that tends to be quite a forested area out there as well. And if they are flying over those sorts of areas, it's likely that they'd also be going over agricultural areas, in which case I could recommend perhaps taking your inquiry to the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry.
Okay.
They tend to be aware of any planes that perhaps are doing like pesticides or water bombing, things like that. So you could contact them. They might have more information on what their flight routes are, what they're doing, things like that.
Yep.
If you wanted their number, I've got it here for you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, no worries. So their number is 1-800.
1-800. Yep.
900.
900.
090.
090. So 1-800 900 090.
That is correct.
All right, perfect.
Because again, they should, I can't advise entirely, be aware of at least any aircraft in relation that are being used in relation to agricultural matters. So.
Okay. Now, what can you do from your end? How high can you take this? Because
in my instance, I'm just an information officer, so I can write through the report. I can include all the details you've given me. We also have an email address if you'd like to send us any footage that you feel might help.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. Well, I'll tell you, I've got an online platform and some of my videos hit 250,000 views. And what's even more concerning is I get people from all different parts of the world who are saying the exact same thing. The same thing is happening in our country. And it's intensified when? Over COVID. While we were in lockdown. And I'm not just talking about like America, England. I'm talking about countries like, West Gambia, Zimbabwe, Turkey. I get so many viewers from Germany, from France, England, and they all say the exact same thing. Our sky is literally just as polluted as yours. We're not as bad as America yet. That's just diabolical. Like, it's so obvious. Noughts and crosses, noughts and crosses? Literally, look at the sky in America and noughts and crosses. We're talking grid lines. And you can literally see the sunbeams hitting these grid lines and the sun reflecting back into outer space. I've actually documented a spray over Coomera, and after the plane disperses the aerosol, I'll happily email this footage to you, except you hear me losing my collective dropping C-bombs. You see this plane dispersing an aerosol. You actually see the plane disperse the aerosol, and then you see a beam. The sun hit this trail, and then you see a shadow about 50 to 100 meters to the right of this trail. Now, clouds should not reflect the sun. What does reflect the sun is aluminium, barium, strontium, manganese, silver iodine, graphene oxide. These are all elements and substances that are used in weather manipulation, weather modification. Many people have gone ahead, rainwater samples taken, their soil samples analyzed, and it's come back with heavy levels. No, this is deeply concerning. What are the long-term health ramifications of spraying aerosols in the sky to block out the weather? We don't know because it's a global experiment. What are the long-term health ramifications of the COVID-19 inoculation? We don't know. It was experimental. See, this is except that was consensual. You consented, well, not really. You were forced to take it or else you'd lose your job, but I digress. But you kind of half consented to that. There's no consent over this. We don't consent to aerosols being sprayed above the sky. What are the long-term health ramifications? We don't know. All I can tell you is the short-term health ramifications that me and many others have suffered, and they're quite concerning. Brain fog, fatigue, feverless flu-like symptoms, gastrointestinal pain, nerve pain, just to name a few. Head pressure, pressure behind the eyeball, pressure behind the sinus glands, feeling like the throat is coated with just sand. No matter how much water you drink, it doesn't clear your throat. These are all some of the symptoms following the bombardment of our sky. Like, this is deeply, deeply concerning. And I know you're taking this call seriously, and I just want to add this in there. Like, please don't think I'm being rude, but I literally finished work at 5:45, and I've got much better things to do than pull over in the Movie World car park for an hour and document this footage of these aerosols being sprayed and ring you guys up, and now my evening's partly waste. Like, I've got so much better things to do than this, but this is really happening above Australian skies.
Yeah.
I've been noticing this for many years, but it's gone into overdrive now. Like, it's so obvious. I guarantee you yourself, I don't know what state you're in, but if you are in Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, especially the Gold Coast, you will notice this yourself. Now that I've made you aware of this, you will be able to see this with your own two eyes as well. Like, it's deeply concerning. Deeply concerning.
Okay.
Deeply concerning is actually an understatement.
Yeah. Well, thank you for reporting today. Like I said, you're definitely free to send through any footage that you have that you feel helps consolidate your information that you've told me today.
Where do I send that footage to?
So our email address is all lowercase hotline.
Hotline?
At nationalsecurity.gov.au.
At nationalsecurity.gov.au. Yep. Okay. Perfect.
And they can be sent through there. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to write up the report. It will be then in our system. If you obviously you're free to contact the numbers that I've given you there to voice your concerns and give them your, the information you have there as well. So yeah, I will write this up. It will go into our system. Was there anything else you wanted to add today just before I do that? More in specifics to what you've seen today would probably be helpful.
Oh, that's it in regards to today. I'm quite happy to send you footage. I'm quite happy to send some of my footage. If you guys accept Instagram links as well, I'm happy to email you a whole ton of Instagram links that'll take you directly to footage that I've recorded myself of not only the aircraft dispersing the aerosol chemical, but then that chemical then widening, not dissipating, but dispensing timed releases, and somehow it magically always finds its way into the path of the sun, and then you see the sun being blocked because it's called sun blocking. Like, I'm happy to send that footage. It's so obvious what's taking place. I'm quite happy to send that.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything that you want to put in the email that you might find helpful, we'll accept. But yeah, so now I'm going to write up this report, and I'll shoot it off.
Can I be given a phone call back with the findings, please?
The National Security Hotline does not make outgoing calls, so you won't hear back from us. I can't speak on the other the numbers for the other departments I've given you, but the National Security Hotline, we don't contact people.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can grab, if you'd like, some of your contact details, and if one of our stakeholders wants to contact you, they can find your details in through us.
Do your stakeholders work for the Australian government?
Well, we work for the Australian government. We are essentially the National Security Hotline. We are the Australian government.
Okay.
You don't have to. There's no obligation for you to give me any of your details. that's fine.
Oh, I'm
There are
quite
four-
happy to, because I've got an online platform. I'm well known to police, politicians, the government. I'm very well known. I'm very well known to the authorities because I refuse to shut up about this. What information do you need?
Could I grab your best contact number?
Yeah, my contact number is...
And I probably don't need the email address if you're going to email us. I can just add it in later.
Yep.
And your first name was Matthew, wasn't it?
Yeah, Matthew.
Are you comfortable giving a last name?
Yeah, absolutely I am. Caligari.
Yep. And how did you spell that one for me?
C-A-L...
C-A-L-I-G...
A-R-I.
A-R-I. Perfect. Alright, that is probably all I need from you. Those are main sources of contact. Alright, Matthew, so I'll write up this report, and it will go into our system. Of course, feel free to email us with any other information you might have. And if that's all, then have a lovely night.
Perfect, thank you. I will do that. You have a lovely night too. I will get you more info. You still there? Yeah, sorry, I thought the call dropped.
No, you're all right.
That's right. Before the call does end, got nothing related, and this is not related at all to the call, but I will let you know this. They're going to come out with another vaccine. We're also going to be going into climate change lockdowns. In 2024, so this year, we're going to be moving into the digital identification bill. The Australian government are going to unleash the digital identification bill on us. This is not about making life easier or simple on us. It is about more totalitarian control, just like what we saw over the handling of the pandemic. What's going to come after the digital identification bill is what's called central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. They want to move us into a cashless society where we will have digital currency. And this ain't digital currency like on your ATM card, we tap your phone. No, this is programmable digital currency where the government will have access to every single purchase we make, every single transaction we make, and they will be able to put us into a social credit score system like is seen in China. They're already talking about we are putting too much carbon into the atmosphere. We need to reduce our carbon emissions. You and I are the carbon that they want to reduce. So my parting message to you, once they say we're going to go for a vote for the digital identification bill, we must all unite and say no. We allowed them to lock us into our homes. We allowed them to take our freedom away from us. We allowed them to make us take an unknown substance to keep our employment. How much more are we going to allow them to take from us and then take some more? That's the message I want to leave you with, because I care about humanity. I've lost my auntie to the so-called inoculation, and there are many people who I know who are suffering severely from what the Australian government administered to them, that Pfizer wanted to stay silent for 75 years over. Pfizer did not want the findings to hit the public for 75 years. If this thing is as safe and effective as they say it is, they shouldn't need to wait 75 years to release the findings to the public. Thankfully, that got overturned, but not after it went into millions of deltoids, but I digress. We must all hold the line when it comes to the digital identification bill and never, ever allow them to lock us in our homes like caged animals and say, this is the time when you can exercise. This is how long you can go for a walk. This is how far you can go from your home. No. If you want to do that, you go commit a crime and you end up in jail. Then you're told how far you can travel, when you can go for your meal. Not if you're a normal, everyday, complying citizen of this country who's got nothing against your name. So if they do that to us ever again, as Australians, we must all unite and say no. If we want our children to be free, we must set them free. And being free does not come from complying with a government that has a proven track record of being deceitful and guilty of war crimes. I know you can't comment on that because you'll probably lose your job, because I'm pretty sure this call is being recorded for safety. But please keep that in mind. I don't know if you're a mother. I don't know if you've got children, but maybe one day you do want to have children. The freedoms we sacrifice now, the freedoms we acquiesce now, are freedoms our children will not know. It was never about health. The handling of C-19 was never about health. It was all about control. It was all about control. And many people are starting to clue on to the fact that it was more than control. It was about a nefarious, worldwide, global agenda. That's what I want to leave you with.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matthew. I'll take all your information into account and take it down.
Thank you.
And I will wish you a lovely rest of the night.
Thank you very much for taking this call seriously. I hope you have a lovely night too. What was your name again? I missed your name. I'm sorry.
Just Emma.
Emma. Emma, thank you very much. You have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. That's what it's come to. That's literally what it's come to. Ringing the fucking national security line to report this shit. That's it. Done. Inundate them. Inundate them with your calls. Inundate them with your calls. I literally had shit I needed to do tonight, which I've missed out on now. Inundate them with your calls. And I'm going to upload this too. I'm going to upload this. I'm going to upload this call. Your silence is compliance. Your silence is consent. Speak your truth even if your voice shakes. Speak your truth even if your fucking voice shakes. I'm done, guys. I hope you have a good night.